Have you ever been watching a game totally locked in, and then the broadcast flashes all these numbers and symbols on the screen that look like, I don't know, a foreign language? Well, today, we're cracking that code. We're going to make sports betting simple, right? You're there, you're watching your team, the game is on the line, and then bam, a graphic full of pluses, minuses, and random numbers. Believe me, we've all been there. But I promise you, it's a language that's way easier to learn than you think. No sweat.
Okay, so this thing right here, it probably looks like total nonsense. Let's make this our mission. By the end of this, I guarantee every single number and symbol on this chart is going to make perfect sense to you. It's really not as intimidating as it looks.
All right, let's get into it. To understand any of this stuff, we have to start with the Rosetta Stone of sports betting, the odds themselves. If you can get this one part down, seriously, everything else just clicks into place.
It all boils down to two little symbols, a plus sign and a minus sign. This is the absolute foundation. The minus sign always points to the favorite. That's the team everyone expects to win. The plus sign, that's your underdog. And here's the most important part. Betting on the favorite gets you a smaller payout, but taking a chance on the underdog could mean a much bigger reward.
So, what do those numbers actually mean in terms of, money? Well, a number like minus 160 tells you exactly how much cash you have to put down to win $100. So in this case, you'd bet $160 to win $100 back in profit if the favorite pulls it off.
Now let's flip it. See that plus sign? A number like plus 140 tells you how much money you'll win for every $100 you bet. So if you put $100 on the underdog here and they win, you get $140 in profit. See? More risk, but a bigger reward. Okay, so now that we get the odds, let's actually apply them to the most straightforward, most direct bet you can possibly make. It's called the money line. A money line bet is honestly as simple as it sounds. You are just picking who you think is going to win the game. That's it. Full stop. It doesn't matter if they win by 1 point or by 50 points. If the team you bet on wins, you win.
Let's play this out with our game. Let's say you bet $100 on Washington at plus 140. And look at that, they win. You get your $100 back, plus your $140 in winnings. That's a $240 payout. Of course, if you bet on Philly and they lose, well, your bet loses. Easy enough, right? All right, we've got the absolute basics down pat. Now let's level up just a little bit. We're going to move beyond just picking a winner and start betting on the score itself. This is where you hear about spreads and totals. The point spread is probably the single most popular way to bet on games like football and basketball. Think of it like a head start. The sportsbook gives the underdog a handicap of a few points to kind of even the odds. So you're not just betting on who wins anymore, but by how much they win or lose. So for a bet to win, a team has to cover the spread. In our game, Philadelphia is the -3 favorite. That means for a bet on them to win, they have to win the game by 4 points or more. But Washington, as the underdog, gets a 3-point cushion. They can win the game outright, or they can even lose by 1 or 2 points, and a bet on them is still a winner. But wait, what happens if the favorite wins by the exact number? Like if Philly wins this game by exactly 3 points? Well, that's called a push. It's basically a tie. Nobody wins, nobody loses, and everyone who bet on the spread just gets their money back. Okay, but what if you've got a gut feeling about a game? Maybe you think it's going to be a crazy high-scoring shootout or a real defensive grind, but you just don't know who's going to win. That's where a totals bet comes in, also known as the over-under. You're simply betting on whether the combined final score of both teams will be over or under a certain number. Let's see how it works. The over-under for our game was set at 42 points. The final score ends up being Philly 24, Washington 20. So you just add them up. 24 plus 20 is 44. Since 44 is higher than 42, the over wins. It's as simple as that. Okay, you now officially know the 3 main types of bets. So let's do a quick lightning round on 2 other terms you're going to hear thrown around all the time: parlays and props. A parlay is when you take 2 or more separate bets and you tie them all together on one ticket. The reason people do this? The potential payout gets way, way bigger. But here's the catch, and it is a big one. Every single one of your picks has to be right. If you have a 4-team parlay and 3 of them win but just 1 loses, the whole thing is a loser. It's the definition of high risk, high reward. And then you have prop bets, which is short for proposition bets. These are basically side bets on all the little things that can happen inside of a game. You could bet on which quarterback will throw for more yards, which team will score first. They're fun because they don't always have to do with who actually wins or loses the game. All right, last stop. You can now officially read and understand a betting line. So to finish things off, let's make sure you can talk the talk. Here are a few essential slang terms you're going to hear constantly.
If you hear somebody say they're betting chalk or that it was a chalky weekend, they just mean they're betting on the favorite. It's the obvious expected pick.
And on the flip side, if someone says they're betting on the dog, you know what that means. They're taking a shot with the underdog, the team that's expected to lose. And finally, you might be wondering, how do the sportsbooks make their money? Well, that's called the juice, or sometimes the vig. It's just a tiny commission that they build into the odds. Think of it as their fee for taking your action.
Okay, let's pause for a second, because this is without a doubt the most important thing we'll talk about. This can be a fun way to engage with sports, but it has to be done responsibly. Know your limits. Never bet more than you're comfortable losing, and never, ever chase your losses. If you or anyone you know might need help, please use the number on your screen. It is free, it is confidential, and it is available 24/7.
And just like that, you've learned the language. The money line, the spread, the odds, they're not a mystery anymore. So the question isn't, what do those numbers even mean anymore? Now the question is, now that I get it, what whole new layer of strategy am I going to see the next time I sit down to watch a game?